Now that we know how to create a histogram, we're going to look at how we can go the other way, where we're given the histogram and we want to see what we know about the data. So in this first example, before I look at the questions, I'm just going to look and see what I know about this histogram. So I can see that we're talking about number of video games my classmates own. So we're talking about that. In our data here, we have our title, we have our labels, so we have number of classmates, and we have video games owned. Down here we have our intervals. So we have 0 to 4, 5 to 9. These are our frequency, which we're also calling number of classmates because that's what we're measuring. So our first question says, how many of Michael's classmates owned between 15 and 19 video games? So this is an interval. I'm going to look for this interval on my graph. I'm going to look for the bar that goes with that interval. And if I trace across here, I can see that that is at 4. So this one is 4 units tall. So that means that the answer here is 4 classmates. For the next question, this says exactly 2 students own between blank and blank video games. So number of classmates or students is along the y-axis here. So I'm going to look and see which of those lines up with 2. So it's none of these first few bars. And I reach this point, and that's right here. I look at the interval, and that's from 20 to 24. So this bar is 2 units tall, meaning that exactly 2 students or 2 classmates own between 20 and 24 video games. I'm going to clean this up a little bit. Don't worry about erasing yours if you don't want to. It's okay. And now we want to know how many students own less than 10 video games. So I'm going to find 10 here, and this interval is where 10 starts. And if I want less than 10, we're going to go to the left. So that's going to be everything to the left of 10. So I need to add these 2 bars together. So my first bar here that I'm looking at, 5 to 9, that goes up to 5. My next bar, 0 to 4, goes up to 6. So I add those together because they both represent less than 10 video games. Again, checking that label against the x-axis. And we have 11 students. Our last question says, if a new student joined Michael's class, how many video games would they most likely own? So think about probability. The more times something occurs, the more likely it is. So here, this bar is 6 units, 6 classmates. This is 5. This is 7 classmates. This is 4 classmates. And this is 2 classmates. So the most common one is this one, 10 to 14. So that would be most likely. That doesn't mean that they will fall in that interval, but this means that that is where they are most likely to come up. All right. For our next one, looking at our graph, we have practice playing the guitar. We have number of days on the y-axis. We have minutes on the x-axis. And I want to know how many days in the month did Maggie practice less than 18 minutes. So I'm going to find 18 minutes, and that's this interval right here. And if I want less than that, I'm going to take everything to the left. So this first interval is 2. This next one lines up with 6. And this last one is 8. So if I add that up, 8 plus 6 plus 2, we'll add each of those up, and that gives me 16. Oh, I'm in the wrong spot here. Don't write that there. We're going to put that up here. 8 plus 6 plus 2, and that is 16 days that are less than 18 minutes. Next, we want to know the greatest amount of time that Maggie practiced the guitar. So where do we see the highest number of days? So I have 0 to 5 is 8, 6 to 11 is 6, 12 to 17 is 2, 18 to 23 is right in between 4 and 2, so that's going to be 3. 24 to 99 is in between 4 and 6, so that'll be 5. And then 30 to 35 is at 6. So I'm going to look for the greatest one, and that is right here, the 8. So that is between 0 and 5 minutes. So Maggie needs to spend a little more time practicing. Next, we want to know how many days did she practice 24 to 29 minutes. So I'm going to look at my intervals at the bottom. I'm going to see 24 to 29, and that bar is 5 units tall. So that means that this represents 5 days. The next question says, if Maggie practiced an additional day and practiced 21 minutes, which interval would we include this in? So we need to figure out, where does 21 fit? It's not 0 to 5, not 6 to 11, not 12 to 17, but it is between 18 and 23. So that would fall between 18 and 23 minutes. Okay, go ahead and pause the video and try question number 1 here. All right, so we wanted to know how many surfers caught between 20 to 29 waves. We look at the bottom here, we see waves along the x-axis. 20 to 29 is an interval. We see how tall that bar is, and that bar is 24 units tall. Next, we want to know how many surfers were at the beach. So this, we're looking for a total. So we're going to have to add up all the surfers from each interval. So this first one is 0. This one we'll say is about 15. We already know that this is 24. We'll say that this is about 23. And this one right here is 4. So I'm going to add all those up. So I have 0 in the first interval, 15 in the next, then 24, then 23, and then 4. So 15 plus 24 is 39. 39 plus 23 is 62, plus 4 is 66. So we have 66 total surfers at the beach. Our next question says, is it possible that a surfer did not catch any waves that day? And if we look, did not catch any waves would be 0. If we look here, there's nobody in our 0 to 9 interval. So the answer here is no, nobody had a 0. Next, we want to conclude, was this a good or a bad surfing day? This is kind of an opinion. I would think, personally, that if you caught 20 to 29 or 30 to 39 waves, yeah, that's a pretty good day. So I'm going to say yes. This is kind of objective, though, so it's up to you.